Okay, so the Leafs didn't deserve to win this game, but they did. Pretty much. Which sort of cancels out the game against Dallas that they should have won, but did not. In a way. Or maybe I should be a little more concerned because their home record isn't very good, and even though they won this one, their performance wasn't that great. Or I could just enjoy the stupid game. It's a lot more fun when you don't ruin it by thinking. Hi! Victory puppy! Land the bird! I have no idea what I'm doing. God, to the riches only! This team is ruining my life! Victory puppies, boys! Alright, Freddy, glove save! Oh, yeah, and... well, you stopped it! Big save, boys, but where are you going? I'm so happy when the Leafs win. Where do you go when they lose? They never know. Leafs! Actually, wait. I'm not about to do what this video was brought to you by. I'm gonna ask you something now, and I'm gonna ask you something at the end of the video, too. Let me guess, Steve, you're gonna promote that Easter Seals thing that you've been promoting for like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I am. I've been saying for a long time now I'm gonna be playing in the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic on Friday in Whitby. You also probably know that for that tournament, I'm raising money for Easter Seals Ontario, which is a charity that helps out kids with physical disabilities. And you also probably know that this is a charity that my family has personally benefited from in the past because of my sister. And look, I've asked a lot out of you, and you've been fantastic. You've donated over $11,000 just to my page, and I have 2 teams. One is Rachel's Raiders, which is essentially the team I was with last year, and Rachel's Raiders Remix, which is a bunch of new recruits. Rachel's Raiders is well over $8,000, and Rachel's Raiders Remix, I think, is around $21,000. And that's amazing, but consider this. Mobility wheelchairs cost about $3,500, which means if the 2 teams combined can raise $35,000, and I think we can, that's still just 10 wheelchairs. So listen, I've bugged you with this enough, and there's no more Leaf games between now and the tournament, so I'm not gonna bug you with it again on this channel anyway. Once more on the podcast, I promise. Genuinely, this means so much to me. If you donate $100 or $1, I don't care, anything helps, and I will be so grateful. If you've ever watched this channel and enjoyed it, if you've ever thought, hey, I'd like to buy this guy a coffee or a beer, how about just that amount? Pause this video, link in the description, I'll even make it the pinned comment. Please donate. If you woke up this morning or any morning and thought, hey, you know what, I want to make the world a better place, you can. On that note, let's talk some hockey. It was super hairy, but Leafs win! 3-1 over the Vegas Golden Knights. The Leafs' first ever regulation win over the Vegas Golden Knights, actually, because the Leafs only played them twice last season, and they were unreal. The Leafs have never lost to Vegas in Toronto, but their win last year was in the shootout while Vegas had their 4th string goalie. And of course, when the Leafs visited Vegas on New Year's Eve, they were destroyed because Vegas is good. Which was weird because heading into the season, they didn't look good on paper. This summer, they made additions to the team so that they look better on paper, and they have done worse. But their underlying numbers are actually amazing, and they've lost a bunch of games they probably deserve to win after riding a crazy PDO bender in the playoffs. And now that you can fully appreciate that the NHL doesn't make any sense, welcome to the family, Vegas fans. Let's talk about the game. Vegas almost scores like 15 seconds in. That was bad. Zaitsev almost scores about a minute later. Now you're seeing this whole hockey doesn't make sense thing. But as Mike Babcock said after the game, well, I thought our 3rd line was our best line to start. And he was right. Lindholm, Brown, and Janssen buzzing. Ozhiganov fires it to Lindholm at the blue line. He bats it into the slot with both Brown and Janssen going deep. But it's scooped up by Holden. Drat. He was about a week late, but Connor Brown goes trick or treat, spins, fires from one knee, score. Downtown Connor Brown scores on a goalie, and everyone's jacked. Brown with his unnerving mustache, like, yeah. Janssen with that child, like, yeah, like he just scored his first NHL goal again. Yes, that is what we need out of the 3rd line. The goal was unassisted, as it should be. The Vegas player, Holden, had the puck, and Brown took it off him, but Ozhiganov getting the puck up to Lindholm, who got it into the slot. Brown was a 20-goal scorer as a rookie. Who knows if he'll ever do that again, but come on, he's got to be good for at least 10 or 15. You can tell that made him feel good. Confidence is a big thing, and speaking of which, Janssen, for so much of the season, he's just kind of been like, well, at least I'm not a healthy scratch tonight. Come on, Mango, show some of that bravado that you had in the Calder Cup playoffs when you were a destroyer of worlds. Speed, skill, tenacity. Show some of the confidence of a guy who would nickname themselves Mango. You don't believe me? It's even on his stick. This is from Mark Masters' Instagram. Look. Who is Mango? Who's Mango? He's a pretty sweet player for a guy picked in the 7th round. He brings a lot of nutrition to the roster. I'll horseshoe that one in. And he signed a 1-year bet on himself contract in the summer in hopes of next year signing a juicy one. Fruit. Fruit has juice. That's, I'm good at this. I know he didn't necessarily do anything on this goal, but Mango! People have talked about the Leafs' bottom 6's inability to score, which is, I mean, technically Kapanen's supposed to be in the bottom 6. Brown, to me, is the given. He's a guy who's been there for a couple years and has scored plenty. But one of the guys who's going to help bring the Leafs success while a couple guys are out, and after they come back, he's going to be the X factor, mango. Vegas outshoots Toronto 13-8 in the first. That's bad. Leafs outscore them 1-0 in the first. That's good. Let's head to the second. Now Marner in the first period, he was dancing. Just this amazing effort. Round and round and round he goes. Where will he stop? Sometime past his bedtime. Actually, the answer was with a wicked pass for a one-timer that was stopped by Fleury. But when Marner's dancing, oh, you can tell. Certain players, you're like, oh, they're locked in tonight. Oh, they're going tonight. No, Marner, it's always dancing. I just feel like that's the best way to describe it. It looks like what he's doing. So start of the second period, the Leafs win the face-off, and oh, those shoes are moving. Riley throws the puck up to Hyman, who tries to chip it in, but it's intercepted by William Karlsson. He can't find the puck at his feet, so John Tavares steals it and sends it to Mr. Fred Astaire, Mitch Marner, snipe! And while it was a wicked shot from Marner, Marc-Andre Fleury, who weirdly doesn't have like a 970 save percentage anymore, would probably want that one back. You might even say that the PDO in the desert has dried up. But what amazed me about that shot and that goal is they go, wow, Mitch Marner, his 5th of the season. And I'm like, that's it? Jeez, maybe you should shoot more. And then I checked MapleLeafs.com. Never mind, he's leading the team in scoring. I think he knows what he's doing. This part's really encouraging. We know Marner's a monster on the power play, but only 6 of his points have come on the power play. That means he's got 13 at even strength. Or shorthanded, because he kills penalties now too. He's so good. Now this is good. Leafs have a lead. That's good. On home ice, that's good. That's rare. But there are some teams who are no fun to play, and those teams tend to become even less fun to play when you have the lead. Vegas. About halfway through the frame, rings it off the crossbar. All right, that one got by Freddie, but it didn't get by the net, so it didn't get by Freddie. It's not even a shot on goal, is it? Shea Theodore floats one on. Freddie's like, I got that. The puck is literally right in front of Freddie's glove. Cody Eakin. Just a little tip. Vegas is on the board, and Cody Eakin becomes the second redhead to score in this game. This time past Freddie Anderson. Perhaps you could call it Red Fred Redemption. Please don't leave me. Vegas outshoots the Leafs 16-8 in the second. That's even worse than the first. And while the Leafs didn't get no chances, Fleury picking cherries in there, the Leafs were outplayed bad. But Fredzina was unreal. And surprisingly, the Leafs did a decent job of locking it down in the third. It came at the cost of offense. The Leafs only mustered 5 shots. But Vegas, only 8, which is by far their least of the game. And the Leafs even took a penalty in the third. In fact, they took 3 to Vegas's 1, which is not a recipe for victory. But as Vegas fans know, you can do all things with a good goalie. Check this out. Freddie Anderson's save percentage among goalies who have started at least 5 games so far this season is 8th in the entire league. In 13 games so far, all of those games starts, Freddie's a 9-2-9. That's gotta put Freddie in the early season Fredzina conversation. Unfortunately, there was a scary moment in this game too. Patrick Marleau connecting with Eric Holla. Holla goes down and immediately I'm like, oh, he touched his head? Let's see what happened on the replay. Oh God, no! Knees aren't supposed to do that! And they get the stretcher out, and I gotta tell you, I was at ice surfing for this one at Sportsnet. We were all looking at that game right then. Had a couple people reach out asking about Marleau's hit. Well, first of all, I was surprised he threw it. You don't really think of Marleau as the most hard-hitting player, right? He's a goal scorer. Had a couple people ask, is that interference? Was it kind of late? No, that's just finishing a check. And it was a lot different than, for example, the Matheson hit on Pettersson. It wasn't like a choke slam at the end of it. It was just kind of like a pushing off. Honestly, I think it was just brutal luck that happens sometimes, man. And his foot sort of got pinned up against the boards too. Just brutal. Here's wishing Eric Holla a speedy and full recovery. He was 3rd in Vegas Golden Knights scoring, and they already have an injured roster. Just brutal. As for the rest of the game, the Leafs shut the door. Specifically, Freddie shuts the door. Nazem Kadri scores his 2nd empty netter of the season, his 1st for his team, and the Leafs win 3-1. I've said this many times before, but man, Babcock's pressers are a hidden gem, and I feel like people don't talk about them enough. Because you could tell he wanted to rip the team apart, and he didn't exactly give them high praise, but he was sort of like, well, I guess this cancels out the Dallas game. The laugh part was me. He didn't laugh. But another point he made, maybe they can just get back to playing at home, Okay, hey, you won. Some confidence, some swagger goes a long way. With a 10-5 record, it's amazing that they need any kind of pep talk. Questions. LFR question early. Do you think the injury and subsequent stretchering of Howla off the ice pretty much threw a damper over the rest of that hodgepodge that was the third period last night? Or were the Toronto Maple Devils... What? Trying to lock it down. If you're calling them the Toronto Maple Devils, you didn't watch the 90s Devils closely enough, did you? I'd say it was like watching paint dry, but even Bob Ross would be like, come on, do a thing! No, the Leafs did actually do a good job locking them down. It was a bit of a reverse of the game against Pittsburgh, sort of, where the Leafs had a pretty good first 2 periods and then kind of a bogus third. It probably did suck some of the energy out of Vegas. I'm sure a lot of them were like, come on, let's tie it for Eric, right? Or like Eric E, hockey names. I don't think it was the win getting sucked out of Vegas so much as they lost another good player. Howla, I think they're down Tuck and Stastny as well. And it's easy to forget because they had success last year, but they had the same thing in net. But I'm sure Vegas knows sometimes you have good luck and and sometimes it's bad. Should I draw victory puppies? Yes, literally always. Why are you asking for permission? Do it yesterday? If Tavares as a kid in Leaf sheets was a premonition of joining the Leafs, what does this mean? The William Nylander is going to return to the Leafs with a bowl cut? Quick poll, bowl cut or mushroom cut? Because when I was a kid, we all called them mushroom cuts, which now that I'm a grown-up, I look back and we should not have. If you had to eat a brick of tofu for every goal the Leafs score, would you run away and live in a forest? I already tried to do that, and Larry was ruining it. He's like, Steve, you can't go live in the forest. You got responsibilities. And I'm like, frig off, Larry. I'll do what I want. And somebody said, sir, you can't bring your tent in the liquor store, and that's the last thing I remember before I woke up at home. The Leafs have now beaten both Cup finalists. Are we the new champs? Yes, but also no. Don't settle for some consolation prize in November. It'll just make the moment it actually happens so much more sweet, like a mango. So hey, remember I told you I'd talk to you about the Easter seals thing again? Hey, here I am again. I said it before, I'll say it again. This means so much to me. Please donate down below to Easter seals. Maybe consider it an early Christmas present, a late Halloween trick-or-treat, or a smile on someone's face. I'm not asking you for $500, but if you did give that, that'd be sweet. I mean, you get a tax receipt, right? You know what, I'll stop. I don't know what I can say that I haven't already said. I just really want donations and I really want to help. And if you can help with that, that'd be amazing. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like to tell all your friends. Brand new Panago Pizza Steve Dangle podcast coming tonight. I am running out of breath. I gotta get my wind. It's time to suit up. Please donate. I have another helmet. The cage is gonna be on. Stop bugging me about it.